Today on Stretch Your Kitchen, it's the question we have all heard or asked before. What do you feel like eating tonight? What are you in the mood for? I'm going to share how to reframe that question as you work to stretch your grocery dollars, minimize food waste, and serve up delicious meals for you and your family. Great meals don't start in the grocery store. They start in your own kitchen. I'm Erica, and I'm on a mission to prove that thoughtful cooking isn't about buying more, but about using better. Welcome to Stretch Your Kitchen. I have a love-hate relationship with the game of golf. I love the idea of playing golf, but I hate how I just can't seem to master the game. There are set rules and guidelines of how to play the game, but the physical and mindset challenges surrounding the seemingly simple golf swing confound even the professionals from time to time. In golf, your bag contains a set of 14 clubs. One club in particular is very powerful. It allows for maximum distance provided that your swing connects with the ball and the ball is well struck. If you're really lucky, that club is a fairway finder. That club is called a driver, and it really goes the distance on the golf course. And if I use it well, it makes a huge difference in my ability to achieve success in the game. Unfortunately, sometimes I lose my way with my driver. At times, I try to guide the driver by the power of my own will. It's either a slight turn of the hands or a flick of the wrist, and I'm basically trying to control it. I forget to let the driver do the work it's designed to do, and that is never a recipe for success. Last week, I played in my first big Hawaii State golf tournament. Your name is announced to those in attendance. So my name was announced and I stepped up to the tee box on the very first hole of the very first day of the 2-day tournament. I completed my practice swings and I fully expected a miraculous drive down the fairway. Unfortunately, I chunked it like 20 yards in front of me. I walked off the tee box incredibly embarrassed, but even more frustrated with myself. Why can I not just surrender to the driver? I don't know. Why am I telling you about golf in a podcast designed around the idea that it's not about what you buy, but about how you use? Well, it's because I see such an analogy to how so many people work with the food that they already have on hand. Would you believe it if I told you that you have a driver in your desire to stretch your grocery dollars and minimize food waste? It's called your own kitchen inventory, and it is imperative that you allow that driver to do the work of guiding your meal planning. If you try to guide it yourself by asking that question we have all asked at one point or another, what am I in the mood for? Instead of allowing your kitchen inventory to drive your decision, you will inadvertently waste not only food, but precious grocery dollars. So that leads me to today's Kitchen Quest. The Kitchen Quest is where I tackle new topics each week to help you stretch your grocery dollars, minimize food waste, and turn what you already have on hand into delicious, flavorful meals. Let me tell you something that might change the way you cook forever. It's not about what you're in the mood to eat. It is what you should eat. 30 years ago, I was working as a lay missionary teacher. I was 22 or 23 years old in the Virgin Islands, and I had very limited funds. I afforded myself one special meal every 2 weeks. That's when I got paid. One meal out per 2 weeks. And I would treat myself to this little hole in the wall called Paradise Cafe. Every other meal had to be created with something that I had on hand. I had no choice. I couldn't decide what I was in the mood for. I ate what I had. I wasted nothing. And truly, there was almost nothing to waste. But during that time, I learned very quickly that it wasn't about what I was in the mood to eat. It is what I had to eat. And that was not a bad thing. So before you panic, this episode is not about restriction. It's not about sacrifice. It's not about dieting or deprivation. It is about letting your kitchen drive your decisions instead of your cravings or your immediate desires. But in that, there is so much freedom. There's spontaneity and creativity and amazing results when you allow your kitchen inventory to drive your meal planning and preparation. For many people, here's what usually happens. You stand in front of the refrigerator and you think, I don't really feel like eating this, or I'm not in the mood for that chicken, or nothing in here sounds good tonight. Maybe you ignore the zucchini that needs to be used, or the leftover pasta that tasted really amazing just the day before. Maybe you skip right over the ground beef that you froze nearly 4 months ago, or you let the spinach wilt. And then you order takeout because there is really nothing in your refrigerator that you're in the mood to eat. So maybe you order Chinese food or Mexican food or a good old-fashioned burger and fries. Does any of that sound familiar? Listen, your kitchen was already trying to feed you. It was ready to drive your dinner plan, but you wanted to overpower that driver just like I did in my tournament last week. Well, today we are flipping that script. Here is a stretch your kitchen truth. True fact. Your freezer and refrigerator are not storage units. I mean, yes, they do hold your precious inventory, and your freezer will certainly keep it tucked away from spoilage, but they are not merely storage units. They are decision-making tools. You just need to make a decision to let those powerful tools drive your dinner plans. I've talked before about the importance of having pantry pride. Perhaps you embarked on your own kitchen cleanout chronicles. I can ask you today the same question that I asked you in episode 5, only this time about your refrigerator and your freezer. Do you know what you have on hand? I mean, really know. Are you privy to all of the details? It is so important to have a firm understanding of your inventory, not just what you have, but for how long you have had it, particularly where refrigerator and freezer items are concerned. As diligent as we may be in wasting nothing and freezing everything, even your freezer foods will have their expirations, freezer burn, or diminished quality. So here is the stretch your kitchen truth. Whatever is oldest in your freezer, that's what you should build your dinner around. Or whatever is closest to spoiling in your refrigerator, that's what you should build your dinner around. If the produce drawer has, say, peppers that are starting to wrinkle, that's your assignment. Use those peppers and build a meal with that in mind. Instead of asking, what do I want or what am I in the mood for? Ask yourself, what needs to be used? And suddenly, you'll be surprised, but cooking becomes simpler. It really does eliminate decision fatigue. There's no more wondering what you could possibly cook tonight, but rather what you should cook tonight. And then, as the slogan goes, just do it. This is how you stretch grocery dollars, minimize food waste, and reduce stress. But guess what? You also cook more creatively because you stop chasing moods and you start honoring inventory. Why is mood cooking expensive? Well, let's think about it. When you decide what's for dinner based pretty much strictly on your mood, it often means that you're maybe buying new ingredients to replicate a perfect recipe or ignoring what you have because it just doesn't sound good in that moment. And you're overcomplicating dinner. There's just too many choices. That is decision fatigue. And you are wasting food quietly and often unknowingly. And in the worst case scenario, you're spending extra money. And this is bad, particularly if you're on a very strict budget, because you might end up ordering takeout or going out to dinner to try and satisfy that craving or that mood that, with a little creativity, could be satisfied at home using the items that you have on hand. Mood-based cooking sounds fun, but inventory-based cooking saves money and minimizes waste. And here is the part that most people miss. Your mood can change. Your ingredients that must be used up cannot. That bag of cilantro, it is aging. A frozen roast, it's aging. A bag of rice, it's waiting for purpose. The goal is not to eat something boring. The goal is to transform what you have into something that feels exciting. And here's something to keep in mind. What you're in the mood for and what you should cook, the two are not mutually exclusive. Both can be achieved. Are you in the mood for Mexican food, but you have to use up celery? Well, maybe make a spicy Mexican celery, pepper, and chicken casserole. Mood satisfied. A Mexican flair with kitchen inventory driving the plan. Because this is where creativity steps in. You might not be in the mood for canned chickpeas or frozen chicken thighs or a half a head of cabbage or some leftover rice, but flavor profiles change everything. Let's say you have frozen chicken and a couple of tired bell peppers in your refrigerator, maybe on the verge of spoiling, and one onion. So you say to yourself, I'm really not in the mood for chicken. I've been there, trust me. But maybe you're in the mood for blackened chicken and peppers over creamy grits, or lemon oregano chicken with peppers over rice with a bit of homemade Mediterranean yogurt sauce like a tzatziki, or ginger soy chicken and pepper stir fry, or chicken and pepper pasta with a garlic and olive oil pan sauce. Same ingredients, different direction, and you can adapt the meal to your mood. What are you in the mood for? Maybe Cajun, like that blackened chicken I just mentioned, or Mediterranean, the lemon oregano chicken, or Asian, the ginger soy chicken, or Italian, the chicken and pepper pasta. You've now let your kitchen inventory drive your decision, but your mood is satisfied too. You see, mood can be satisfied from seasoning and texture and presentation. It's not determined by an ingredient list. Again, you can satisfy your mood, but let your kitchen drive. The two are not mutually exclusive. So let's go through some practical examples. Maybe you're not in the mood for pasta, but you do have some canned tomatoes and some garlic. Well, maybe turn that pasta dish into a creamy tomato soup a la vodka-style sauce, or a shakshuka-style eggs in tomato sauce, or a spicy arrabbiata with crispy breadcrumbs, or a tomato butter sauce over fish or roasted vegetables. I make this delicious cod in tomato butter sauce. It is scrumptious, and it is so easy and takes only 5 simple ingredients, one of which is a can of tomatoes. I'll add that recipe to stretchyourkitchen.com in case you want to check it out. But the idea here is that it's that same can of tomatoes that must be used or are begging to be used, but 5 different possible meals. Same can, different identity. Your pantry or your refrigerator or your freezer are the driver. Your mood is satisfied. Here's another one, canned beans. I don't know if I have ever, a single time in my life, said to myself, I'm really in the mood for beans tonight. Yet I do purchase them and I use them. They are economical and healthy and satisfying. So maybe you don't say to yourself, I'm in the mood for beans, but you see that can of beans waiting to be used. Maybe you're in the mood for Italian food. Crispy, smashed white beans with lemon and fresh herbs like parsley and basil. Or Mexican food, black bean tostadas with avocado and lime. Or Mediterranean food, blended bean dip with garlic and olive oil, a hummus of sorts. Serve it with sliced vegetables and pita triangles for dipping. Or maybe you're just in the mood for a simple salad. How about a 3-bean salad sprinkled with feta? Or perhaps it is cold outside. A simple and warming ham and bean soup, or really any protein and bean soup with a crusty bread. That really satisfies on a cold day. You see, beans aren't boring. They are blank canvases. And if they must be used, then they can also satisfy your mood. Of course, we can talk about eggs. And if you listened to last week's episode of Stretch Your Kitchen, you know how much I love my eggs. Eggs can rescue almost anything. Wilted greens into a frittata. Leftover meat, create a hash or a tortilla filling. Roasted vegetables, a baked egg skillet. Rice, egg fried rice. Soup, egg drop soup. You might not crave eggs, but you might crave a comfort meal or a warm meal or something satisfying. Eggs can do that. I can go on and on about eggs, but you already know that because I did last week. If you haven't listened to Stretch Your Kitchen episode 7, try to get to it this week because you will quickly realize the power and versatility of the humble egg. The bottom line is this. I urge you to allow your kitchen inventory to serve its purpose, to drive your meal planning decisions, and allow your mood and creativity to build the dish you are craving. You can do this, and I am here to encourage you along the way. By letting go of control and surrendering to what your inventory is driving you to do, you will be well on your way to stretching your grocery dollars, minimizing food waste, and serving up delicious, flavorful, and dare I say, mood-satisfying meals for you and your family. So now it's time for this week's Culinary Concern. The weekly culinary concern allows me the opportunity to answer your questions and share more ways to help you stretch your kitchen. If you're feeling inspired, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. Visit stretchyourkitchen.com and please follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Stretch Your Kitchen for more tips, tools, and helpful takeaways to minimize waste and maximize flavor. Let's talk about a real hesitation people have when I say, let your inventory drive your dinner, because I can almost hear it. You're probably thinking, well, if I don't start with a recipe, how will I know what to cook? Won't dinner just fall apart? Well, that concern makes sense because recipes and meal plans, they feel safe, they feel controlled, measured, predictable. You pretty much know exactly what you're getting. And when you let your refrigerator and freezer decide what's happening, it can feel like you're stepping into uncertainty, like unsafe territory. What if it doesn't taste good? What if it feels random? What if I waste food? What if nobody wants to eat it? Underneath all of that is one word, control. We like controlling the outcome before we start. But here's what I really want you to consider. When you let your kitchen inventory lead, you are not giving up control. You are changing what you control. Instead of controlling the exact outcome, you regain control. You regain control of the protein that needs to be used so that it doesn't succumb to months of freezer burn. You regain control of the vegetables that are getting soft so they don't end up in the rubbish bin. You regain control of the grain that you already have in your pantry so those pesky little pantry bugs don't take residence like they do here in Hawaii. You also regain control of the flavor profile that you decide to lean into. Your mood is satisfied. This is not chaos or loss of control. This is strategy. So the real culinary concern here isn't really about control. It's about ensuring cohesion. You want a cohesive, delicious meal. People worry that if they grab a little bit of this and a little bit of that, the meal might feel disjointed or disconnected or random, like leftovers just thrown into a pan. And that is a valid concern because random ingredients without structure are random. But inventory cooking is not random cooking. It's structured creativity. You can anchor your meal in 3 things. 1, a flavor profile. 2, a cooking method. And 3, a template. The flavor profile might be Cajun or Mediterranean or Tex-Mex or Italian or Asian-inspired, something that will basically give you a spice direction. And that's where the mood comes in. What are you in the mood for? Your cooking method might be roast or saute or braise or simmer or toss, whatever seems easiest to you in that moment. And your template might be a grain bowl or a pasta dish or a skillet meal or a sheet pan dinner or a soup or a salad. See, when those 3 pieces are in place, a flavor profile, a cooking method, and a template, your ingredients aren't random anymore. They're sort of like players in a system, chess pieces on the board that you have the power to maneuver at your will. Let me give you a quick example. Say you have some ground sausage, half an onion, and a bell pepper, and maybe some rice. If you try to cook from mood, you might think, I don't feel like sausage and rice. But if you think from structure, you might say, okay, I'm in the mood for Cajun food. That's the mood. That's what you're having a craving for. And I'll do a skillet method of cooking, and I'm going to use a rice bowl template. Now it's cohesive. It's intentional. Same ingredients, completely different mindset. And here is the benefit of cooking that way. You reduce waste. You reduce grocery spending, and you reduce decision fatigue. And you also build real cooking skill because you're not just following instructions, you're making decisions. You are building your meals. You're learning how ingredients behave together, and you're building confidence. You are cooking creatively. Letting go of control in the kitchen doesn't mean dinner becomes unpredictable. It means your cooking becomes responsive. Responsive to what you already have on hand. Responsive to what needs to be used. Responsive to your goals of stretching your grocery dollars and minimizing food waste. And when your inventory drives that decision, you stop asking, what am I in the mood for? Instead, you ask yourself, what do I have to use and how will I make it delicious? Because I will. That is mindset shift right there. I am so excited to hear how this simple shift, this reframing of the age-old question of what am I in the mood for, helps you achieve your goals to stretch your kitchen. Please feel free to drop me a message on Facebook at Stretch Your Kitchen or through the contact tab on stretchyourkitchen.com. I can't wait to hear from you. So let's move on to today's Triple T takeaway. Each week, I'll leave you with my Triple T takeaway. That's tips, tools, or tasks to begin implementing the Stretch Your Kitchen lifestyle. These simple takeaways prove that thoughtful cooking isn't about buying more, but about using better. This week, I want to provide for you a simple framework to guide you as you work toward allowing your kitchen inventory to drive your meal plan. This framework is contained in 3 simple words that I would love for you to remember. The 3 words are scan, choose, upgrade. Scan, choose, upgrade. First, step 1, scan. Scan for urgency. What must be used? What protein or what vegetable or what starch? What's oldest in my refrigerator or freezer or pantry? What is expiring soon or on its last legs? That's what's for dinner tonight. So step 1, scan. Step 2 in this framework is choose. Choose a direction and additional on-hand ingredients to round out the meal. Think of it as the cuisine vibe, the mood for the night, whether it's Mexican or Mediterranean or Asian or comfort food. So step 1 was scan, and now step 2, choose. You're choosing those ingredients. What main ingredient, and then what are some supplementary ingredients that will work well or enhance that flavor profile? And the third step is upgrade. You're going to upgrade the experience, and you do that by adding on something that really brightens or enhances the experience. Whether it's acid, like a little bit of lemon juice or a drizzle of balsamic vinegar, or a little bit of heat, like chili flakes or hot sauce, or texture, like toasted nuts or crispy breadcrumbs, or creaminess, like yogurt or butter or cheese, or a fresh, bright topper, like a salad or a chimichurri. It's that simple. Scan, choose, upgrade. Now dinner isn't random. It's intentional, and it will be delicious. Remember that stretch your kitchen truth. When you let your mood guide your meal, you overspend. When you let your inventory guide your meal, you gain control. This week, I would love to see how this scan, choose, upgrade hack works for you in your kitchen. In no time at all, you're going to see how easy it is to minimize food waste by cooking not based on mood, but on must. What must I use? And how will I make it amazing? That's all for this week's episode of Stretch Your Kitchen. Next week, get ready to start your day right. I'm going to share ways to ensure that breakfast remains the most important and easy meal of the day as you work to stretch those grocery dollars, minimize food waste, and serve up delicious breakfast for you and your family. Thank you for listening to Stretch Your Kitchen. If you enjoyed this episode or feel that it would be useful to someone else, please leave a review on Podchaser and follow me on Facebook or Instagram at Stretch Your Kitchen. And remember, thoughtful cooking isn't about buying more, but about using better.